Hey, hey, hey. I'm your humble host, Phys Ed Music, and this right here, this is Urban Politics, where politics lives. Want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Look, as soon as you got a chance, after this program, please take a little cell phone over to YouTube, like and subscribe, Phys Ed Music, Urban Politics. But without further ado, I want to jump right into it like a car and drive because there's all types of tasty and delicious politics for us to sink our teeth into. So let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, let's talk about some local stuff. Let's talk about the race between Tim Ryan and JD Vance. This was a polling of 36,139 real people in Ohio about the candidates. And people are turned off, of course, by all the political ads. They say they are clearly unbelievable. That's what's hilarious about political ads, though. It's crazy how much money, and we're going to talk more about that, but how much money is put into these political ads, right? And a lot of them are always over the top. And I mean, they just paint the other person out to be a monster and all this other stuff. And it's always an ad full of how bad this other person is. It's never an ad full of all the good things that the person actually running for the spot wants to do for you. No, it's all about why you shouldn't vote for this other person. So that's silly, but they pour so much money into it. But right here, people are like, they're clearly unbelievable. Okay, if that's the point, though, or if that's really what's going on, why is so much money poured into them? Because on some level, obviously people are believing this stuff, or obviously these ads work in some sort of way. They do work. They obviously work. That's why much money is poured into them, and it's sad. So that's something to think about. Think about that. How some of these political ads are just so ludicrous and so silly and so over the top. But on some level, they must be working because they pour millions of dollars into them, right? So people like that Tim Ryan voted for Trump's trade deals and told Biden to stay tough on companies shipping jobs to China. Well, duh. Everybody is on that. They took our jobs. You know what I'm saying? Quote from South Park. But that's what it is. People mad about that. You know what I'm saying? Mad about all those good factory jobs going overseas. That TI is what a TI is, but you know who really helped bring that in. Good morning. But whatever, that is. We'll talk about that too. But that's what's up with that. So has that happened? Yes. But people like the fact that Tim Ryan has stood, strong against that and said, hey, cut that out. And you know what I'm saying? They were saying that, that he voted for Trump's trade deals. Okay, some of that. You know what I'm saying? The America First agenda. I get it because America does give away a whole lot of money in government aid. I've talked about that ad nauseum on this show. And I'm like, some of that money could definitely go to help people in this country. So I get it. At the same time, I would not call myself a nationalist like Trump called himself. So I get it. So that's my point. You know what I'm saying? So people like the fact that he did that. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? Mr. Ryan, that is a good, we got to keep jobs here in America. That's for sure. So some of that. People don't like how JD said he wants to cut Social Security, then flip-flopped when he ran for the Senate. People feel like it's too important to risk. That's 100% correct, ain't it? Oh my goodness. Medicare and Medicaid, too important to risk. Way too important to risk. Like Barack Obama and other presidents before him had said, you know what I'm saying, Medicare, Social Security, that is a deal that America makes with its elderly, that when you get to those twilight years, that you can die with some dignity, that there'll be this pot of money that you can live off of and live with dignity and die with dignity. So that TI is what a TI is. So we got to protect that. We have Republicans, Tim Scott, who want to get rid of it. Who want to get rid of it. So it needs to be protected. So they like the fact, or don't like the fact that JD flip-flopped on that because, he don't give a damn about Social Security or Medicaid or none of that. He's rich. So that is what it is. Yeah, people like how Tim Ryan voted to lower prices and energy costs and did it without raising taxes on families. That's doable. Mr. Ryan has been able to do that. You can do that when you can get a little bipartisan love, a little bipartisan agreement, get some things done in Congress. And they've done that behind the scenes, low-key, you know what I'm saying, in the dead of night, which they kind of have to. Because between the two parties, it's frowned upon if you work with the other party. So it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Congress is really at a stalemate right now, and it's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? That's why their approval rating is so low. They're not able to work together and get anything done. But there have been instances where they have been able to work together and get things done. Tim Ryan has found a lot of middle ground. That's the reason why he's getting love from Republicans in this season right here, where a lot of people are so tribal and they're so all about my gang. You know, Tim Ryan has still been able to pull off some of that Republican support because he's appearing as a moderate. He's appearing as a moderate. I don't know if I agree with that, but whatever, it is what it is. It's the face he's putting on. It's the face that people are buying, and I definitely would like to see him win this over J.D. Vance. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about political spending. Of course, they're making it rain on these political campaigns. They always have been and they always will do it, right? So $6 billion has been spent through September. $200 million on the midterms. Yes, these midterms y'all getting ready to vote on Tuesday, November 8th. Please register if you're not registered. Please do an absentee ballot like myself if that's what you get into and you just want to vote at the crib. But do something. Let your voice be heard. But yes, it's coming up November 8th and already $200 million spent on it. Half of adults say that political ads should not be allowed on social media outlets. And I agree with that. I would be part of that half that says cut that out. Oh my goodness. Because we have so many people out there who are vulnerable and malleable when it comes to their minds. When you put that stuff on Facebook and Instagram and all these other outlets, I mean, they see it on there and people run with it because they think it's gospel and it's garbage that was just on a social site. But they don't get that. They're not smart enough to parcel the fake from the real. So, and on some level, a lot of these sites know that, but it gets clicks, it makes money, all of that garbage. So a TI is what a TI is, but I agree, they need to cut that out. That's not where our politics needs to be. Our politics does not need to be discussed on Facebook. Even though I post a lot of political stuff. And it doesn't need to be discussed on Instagram, where once again I post a lot of political stuff. Anyway, and not on TikTok, where I learn a lot of political stuff. Oh Lord. Anyway, none of those outlets are the places for this stuff. Unfortunately, it's there though. Why? Because it gets clicks, it gets views, it makes money. But that's not where these issues need to be discussed. So that is what it is. The number one ballot issue is inflation. Of course, they call it pocketbook issues, or kitchen table issues. Issues that are paramount to you and your family. The price of a carton of eggs is paramount to you and your family. The price of a gallon of milk is paramount to you and your family. So these are kitchen table issues. These are pocketbook issues. Of course, the number one issue on the ballot is inflation. The price of everything has went up, not just gas, but all those other things that I mentioned. So everybody's feeling it in the pocket. Me included, ladies and gentlemen. So I get it. I get it. So that's what it is. Some people are able to fund the campaigns, or fund their own campaigns, right? Which shows they have deep pockets. But then that also shows that there might be a lack of grassroots support. And an example of this that they talked about was Bloomberg versus Bernie Sanders. Now, Bloomberg was what? The $1 billion man. That guy got billions, right? From whatever investments or whatever things he did as a businessman back in the day. The guy's loaded, right? He's filthy. So he was able to fund his own campaign. Now it was all for naught because he didn't get the nomination, which I wasn't sure if he would or not. I didn't know. I mean, you've seen him everywhere like everybody else, but like I said, he had the money to do it, but he did not have what? The support. Didn't have that grassroots support. And I always talk about on the show what? You have one of two things in politics. You could have people power or you could have money. Now, if you have both, like Barack Obama did, you look good winning that contest, right? But sometimes people can have one or the other and still do their thing. That's the reason why Bloomberg, he you know what I'm saying? He definitely, he took his shot, didn't he? You know what I'm saying? He got the bread. He spent the bread. It didn't mean nothing. He's still rich because the guy's super rich. So he spent all that money on it and he wasn't successful, but he still did it because, you know what I'm saying? And that might have been enough under different circumstances. Who knew until he did it? You know what I'm saying? But people like Bernie Sanders have people power. And Bernie Sanders and a lot of those campaigns, a lot of times you'll see them bragging about how they'll say the highest donation that we've received from any donor has been $25. But we have so many million coming in each quarter. Now that right there is a flex. Why? Because it ain't that some guy had deep pockets. We didn't get a check for $3, $4, $5, $6 million from one person. No, we had all these individuals who care so much about our cause. A lot of them are broke. A lot of them are hurt. A lot of them are hungry. But they wrote a check or they dug in their pockets. They gave $25, $30, $40, $50, whatever they could scrape together. And they threw it at our campaign because they believe in our message. That means a lot. That right there looks like the person who's poised to win that contest, right? Because they have grassroots support. That means something. That's real big. And that's what Bernie Sanders has a lot of grassroots support. People at the grassroots level just believe in him, believe in his message, and push him a lot. You know what I mean? So it's more of a flex than when you have $1 million donor. Now on the right, they've always had that because Republicans have what? They have money. So a lot of them get that off. I might not be able to get donations from, all the people in my party or all the people who claim to be Republicans, but I had, one or two who wrote me checks for $8-9 million. There it is. Then you in business, right? So that's what's up with that. That is what it is. Moving on, let's talk about student debt relief. Will there be any relief for these students who are in debt, such as myself, or these ex-students who are in debt, such as myself? Well, check it out. So 60 million student loan borrowers have now been approved for debt cancellation. But they won't see relief in the upcoming days due to a GOP lawsuit, of course. A GOP lawsuit. Think about that. Anyway, the Education Department has approved 60 million borrowers for debt relief. Because of a lawsuit from the GOP, they have to wait for a ruling from the 8th Circuit Court, a finding or a final decision on the legality of this legislation. Yeah. 26 million student loan borrowers applied for up to $20,000 in debt relief through an online portal. 16,000 were approved. It's held up in certain states. 6 of them, of course, are Republican states that have, held up this legislation. Why? Who are arguing that the policy would hurt their state's revenue, the tax revenue. And they're also saying it would hurt the revenue of a loan company, Mohela. Mohela, M-O-H-E-L-A. Mola. Okay, so there's that. The Supreme Court has been handed down 2 of the lawsuits so far. Justice Amy Coney Barrett quickly dismissed one of them in October. Now that right there, I got to pause that because when I saw that, I was blown away. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the reasons I love politics, right? This woman was sent there to the Supreme Court to do the bidding of the Republican Party, to do the bidding of so-called conservatives, right? Because these people are more Trumpeters, they're not conservatives, but that is what it is, to do the bidding of Trumpeters. But yet this ruling comes down the pipeline, and she didn't uphold it. And you know what? You can Google it, and you can see for yourself. But I remember reading it was something about how it was all about the law of it. It was all about the legality of it. And she said, no, this is fine. This is legal. I'm not ruling against this. Quickly, she stepped up and said, nah, I'm not shutting that down. I'm going to let that go. That, wow. You know what I'm saying? But that kind of really, blew conservatives, on their butts. Because they was like, really? This is our girl. How we sitting her there and she ain't doing what we want her to do? But that's why I love politics. Sometimes people act outside of themselves to do the right thing. At the heart of it, this woman is what? She's a judge. So she's all about the law and the legality of it. And if she looked at it and said there's nothing illegal about this, well, then I just can't vote against it, can I? Because it's not illegal. Wow. And I never in a gazillion years thought I'd be saying hats off to Mrs. Amy Coney Barrett. But here I say hats off to the lady, because there it is. I mean, she did what it was. She actually voted her conscience. She did what I would say is the right thing. So there's that. So there's another, ruling coming down, the pipeline they've been handed. We'll see what they do with that. But as far as the first one, she quickly got that done with. She's quickly like, that's cool. We letting that flow. I'm not even gonna mess with that. That's cool. So there it is. So we'll see what happens with this next one. But it's interesting, isn't it, that they did that. Mola, M-O-H-E-L-A, Mola, told Missouri Representative Cori Bush it was not involved with the state's decision to sue the Biden administration, taking away from the argument that the company would suffer from loan forgiveness. So there it is. These Republicans going to run up and try and create the argument that, this loan forgiveness will hurt, our state's tax revenues, and it'll hurt this company's revenues. And then this company is like, hold up, we ain't say nothing about that. They just threw us in that just for whatever. But no. And they even, they wrote Cori Bush. I don't know, like, hey, nah, You know what I'm saying? Nah, we had nothing to do with that. We had nothing to do with it. They just threw us in that. We had nothing to do with that. So ain't that something? And then I'm like, wow, here's people who I'm sure they had no problem paying their way through school. I'm sure they got all the loans and all the help and all the support in the world. But they're so upset that people who are already struggling to live, you know what I'm saying, who can't pay their bills, who can't buy a house, who can't do anything, might get a little relief on student loans. You know, this is a debt that people incur trying to further their educations. I want to say you go to any other civilized country in the world, that's free. I know a lot of my African brothers and sisters and some of my foreign brothers and sisters from other places have told me that higher education is free where they're from. You just go to a building if you want it, you go there and you get it. End of story. But it's not like that here in America. But then you have a whole political party that would sit there and want to demonize people who get a break from the president on some of these ridiculous bills. You know, my student loans aren't even that high. I've been paying them forever. And they're not high at all, really. They're actually laughable. You know what I'm saying? I fall within that $10,000, $20,000 forgiveness. But what blows me away, though, is why they're always calling me, talking about they want to talk to me about it. What you got to talk to me about? If it's forgiven, go ahead and write it off. We don't need to talk about nothing. But whatever, I'm going to call them people back because they need to write that off. I'm sick of paying for it forever. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. I got to talk about it. We're talking about him. Everybody else been talking about him. Mr. West, Kanye West. Hey, I like everybody else. I'm a fan of the man. I love his music. I'll continue to love his music. I think Donda is an amazing album. He, of course, had albums before that were amazing, and Jesus Walks was good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Being able to make a Christian song so secular like that and be so loved and accepted like that, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Kanye West has a lot of great achievements under his belt, but as of yet, and that's the thing, I have this in my notes. I just have his name, Kanye West, or I get you calling himself Ye now? Is that what it? Ye, whatever, Ye, and just a bunch of question marks. I don't know what to say about this brother. I mean, he really just torpedoed his own career. What did Dave Chappelle say? When keeping it real goes horribly wrong. Because I'm not saying that everything he said was right, but I'm definitely not saying everything that he said was wrong. But how about this? Time and place. There's a time and place for everything under the sun. It says that in the Bible. He claims to be a Christian. Are you reading that book, Kanye? Because it says that in the Bible, doesn't it? You know what I'm saying? There is a time and a place for everything under the sun. And the platform that he was on was neither the time nor the place for some of those beliefs that he was espousing. That is what it is. And it's like, come on, man. You know who pays you. You know who signs your check. You know who you go to meetings with. You know who you're doing business with. Why would you get on a platform and offend the very people, that you do business with? But I go to say that he's doing that because he is not medicated. Trevor Noah talked about it. I saw Trevor Noah on one of those like after hours daily show things where they just be talking to him and getting personal and stuff. And then somebody yelled in the back. I think I've talked about this on the show. I'm talking about it again. Yelled at him from the back. You know, like, Trevor, what's up with the beef with Kanye? And he said, I don't have a beef with Kanye. He said, but I'm not going to be one of those people who sees somebody headed for disaster. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, well, somebody should have did something. Somebody should have said something, you know. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. He said, I'm going to do something, say something right now. And I love Kanye. But, you know, and he also said, and here's what I agree with. He said, here's a man who has let us know that there's medication that he should be taking that he's not taking. So, you know, he's unmedicated, but no one's going to speak to that. No. People are just going to watch the train wreck. And then when it wrecks and somebody gets hurt or killed, then they want to be like, oh, somebody should have said something. Somebody should have did something. I agree. I'm not going to be one of those people either. And I've said that on my show as well, too. I love Kanye West. The man needs to be medicated. He's not medicated. This is something an unmedicated person does. Why would you throw away your bag like that? I mean, just think about it. The billions of dollars this man has thrown away overnight. Now, they said he went from being a couple of billionaire to a several $100,000-aire. You know, $400,000 or $400 million. My mom kept correcting me on that. Ain't no 400,000. They said 400 million. Okay, 400 million. That's a lot of money. but it's nothing compared to the billions with an S that he did have and that he was poised to make from these very outlets that he offended. What was the point of that? What was the point of it? Because at the end of the day, what's changed? Nothing. The only thing that's changed is the money in his account. The only thing that went down was the money in his account. And I really don't like how he had the audacity to, if you ask me, to offend the Floyd family even more by saying that God is doing this as punishment to him, and now he knows what it feels like to have a knee on his neck, having all this money taken from him. I wanted to smack the taste out of his mouth, man. That's disrespectful. No, you don't, Kanye. No, you don't. That man was suffocated for 9 minutes in front of the world. He is gone. He's gone. He's gone. All the things you and I take for granted, waking up in the morning, drinking a sip of coffee, breathing air that may not be the freshest in the world. He don't do none of that anymore. He's no longer in the land of the living, Kanye West. So it's not cool when you say that, yeah, losing all this money, I know what it feels like not having a knee on my neck. You don't know anything, man. You don't know. You still just a spoiled Negro, who really got a lot of growing to do and who has really disappointed me. With that said, I'm still listening to the music. That's sad. That's what this music stuff do to you. That's what this art do to you. Grab you. With that said, I'm still a fan of the music. But that guy, he really needs to get his act together. And like I said, he's been super disrespectful. He deserves to lose all the money that he's losing. The George Floyd family is suing him for $250 million. I wish they were suing him for 3 times that, because he deserves to pay them 3 times that for all the crap that him and Miss Owens have been doing lately. With that said, I do want to talk about something though. This was so interesting. Just found this out just a little bit before I did the show. There's a couple of brothers, Ramses Ja and Quentin Ward. I hope I'm getting their names right. They're the host of the racial justice show Civic Cypher, and they're the legal owners of the White Lives Matter trademark for its use on clothing. Did you hear that? These two brothers are the legal owners of White Lives Matter, the White Lives Matter trademark. What? And I guess they said it was someone who listens to their show who got it and then gave it to them and said, here, I'm giving this to you guys. I want you guys to have it. Do it what do what you see fit. I want you guys to have it. Blows me away. And then I'm like, okay, these are two brothers. But then I'm wondering, was this listener white or black? I don't know. But that was a brilliant idea to get the trademark on that, because it gave it to them. And then, and then they even said, now that they have this, they want to possess it to limit the use of this phrase so that it isn't used to trigger people or hurt people. Like he said, particularly, people of color. And then the lady asked him, she said, so what are you all going to do with it? And then they said, well, right now, he said, they plan to do nothing. And he said, nothing is plenty, isn't it? That blew me away. Think about what the brother said. She said, what you going to do with it? And he said, right now, nothing. And nothing is plenty, isn't it? And that's right. They got, copyright of this White Lives Matter garbage so that they can hold on to it. And they said it won't be used to trigger other people. It won't be used to hurt other people, especially, of course, people of color. And then the guy, this was all on CNN. You know what I'm saying? You can look this up on the internet. It was on CNN. It was a great interview. And the guy even said, he said, let me paint a picture of like some person, you know what I'm saying, wearing army fatigues and guns, whatever, and showing up to your house in a White Lives Matter t-shirt. What would you do with that? That would, tell me that wouldn't trigger something. So I was like, bruh, wow. You know what I'm saying? That's smart right there. But you know what that is too? That's brothers and sisters, black folk paying attention. What did Barack Obama say when all this stuff started coming down about all this voting rights legislation and voting laws and all these other states and stuff? Barack Obama said, and what was Barack Obama? He was the head law professor at Harvard. The head law professor at Harvard. What did he tell us? He said, this is a country of laws. We shall seek retribution through the law. So smart. And that's what this is. This is America, right? So the legal thing to do was to copyright White Lives Matter. If you don't want people abusing that or using that term to hurt people of color, you know what you do? You have to dig in your pocket, use your money, and acquire it. How do you acquire it in this country? Through the law, through copyright law, through copywriting that phrase. Now you own that phrase. It can't be used on clothing unless you say it can. It can't be used in any other way unless you say it can. This is brilliant. Like I said, I don't know who that listener was who acquired it and then gave it to them, but man, that guy or gal or whoever is brilliant. And I just wonder who they are. But that is what it is. These guys got it and they said they refused to let it be used for nefarious purposes. So I'm like, that's kind of a smack in the face to Kanye West. So see, when you're out there trying to do bad or do wrong, there's always going to be some people who step up to do a little bit of good, right? All right, before I get out of here, it is time for my IPA of the week. My IPA of the week is this low pitch hazy IPA. Delicious, ladies and gentlemen. This is good stuff. It's a hazy IPA, dry hopped with juicy American hops. It's bright and citrusy. I would agree with all of that. It's only 5.5% alcohol. Like we said, most beers are 5.0% alcohol. This is 5.5, so it's just a little bit more, but it's really tasty. It's really delicious, and it's still definitely giving you something you can feel. I promise you that. Listen, it says this easy drinking hazy IPA packs a bright citrus hop punch without all the bitterness. Juicy American hops and a light malt bill make a low pitch the perfect pairing for sandy shores, mountaintops, and backyard hangs. I would agree with that. True indeed. A backyard hang with a backyard hang with this high pitch, you know what I'm saying, or low pitch hazy IPA. That would be a great hang. So this is a delicious brew. If you got a little bit of money in your pocket, might want to go and grab you this low pitch hazy IPA. It's good stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is my time. This is Urban Politics, where politics lives. I'm your humble host, Fizz Ed Music. I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing. As soon as you have a chance, please run on over to YouTube, like and subscribe. Fizz Ed Music, Urban Politics. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, see you around like a donut.